So I get a lot of questions from people regarding like anxiety. Surprisingly, that's a question that's been sent to me. And even I got a question on Reddit the other day where someone said that they were trying to sort of like chill out after training. I've gotten that question before, but they were trying to relax after training, and they're having trouble doing it. And so I was going to share, kind of do a 2-for-1 video, something that might help you guys out with anxiety, because I'm a person that, years ago, it's been a long time now, but years ago I dealt with some anxiety and like panic attack type stuff. And then if you have trouble like sort of relaxing, this can be useful to you. So we're going to do a simple breathing exercise that you can do, and I'm actually going to do a little bit of music with it so you can follow along. But the basic idea, and obviously if you dive into breathing and stuff like this is very simple, but the basic idea with breathing, and if you get into breathing, it's kind of interesting. I read a really good book on it, and it was talking about the fact that when you breathing is one of the few things that we do that can go back and forth between the autonomic nervous system, meaning it can be on autopilot where you don't even think about it, or it can be a conscious thing that you think about, right? Like if we actually think about our breath, we start to have to actually manually do it, and then it eventually goes back into we're no longer thinking about it. And what's neat about the breath is that it can be used to trigger a sort of fight or flight response or a more relaxed response. So basically you can turn your body into a more sympathetic sort of nervous system sort of dominant, which would mean like that's when you're training hard, lifting weights, doing jiu-jitsu, rolling, or you're really like, got a lot of adrenaline pumping, whatever, that's your sympathetic, right? The parasympathetic is going to be where you're more relaxed, rest and digest, so to speak. So one of the things you can do to sort of get yourself to go into a more relaxed sort of state, your whole body, both mind and everything else, is to breathe in a more relaxed state. Stretching can help as well. Like I actually just got done training. I'm in my sweaty rash guard here, and I was doing a lot of deep breathing and stretching. And what that does is that kind of relaxes the body, because if the body's muscles are beginning to loosen up and you're breathing deeply, the body can sort of, it feels as if like, again, sort of triggering, and this is the theory on it anyway, that there's no threat. There's nothing to be worried about. So here's the basic idea. I'll stop talking so we can get into this. So here's a basic idea for you guys if you're dealing with this. First off, find a place where you can sit and relax. I'm going to put some music on, but find music whatever you want to. There's a lot of good stuff on YouTube. You can look up binaural beats. There's some stuff like Holosync. Any of that stuff is going to be fine. Find that stuff and then, put it in your headphones and then listen to it. And then from here, the idea is going to be that you want to breathe starting into your stomach, to your chest, and then up into your throat. And so when you do that, and hopefully you can kind of see what's going on there with my stomach and my chest, and everything's rising and falling back down. So the idea is that we breathe through the nose, and you can also breathe out through the nose, or you can breathe out through pursed lips, like, and all the way back out. The idea also is that you want to slow down the exhale. So if one of them is going to be longer, you want your exhale to be longer when you're trying to relax, because the idea is that think about someone when they, remember back in the day, like they would get people, if they were having like, they were hyperventilating, they would get them to breathe into a brown bag, right? To basically, it's putting more, if I'm correct, I could be wrong about this, but if I'm remembering correctly when I read about it, it's putting more carbon dioxide into the lungs essentially, right? So if we do the Wim Hof type breathing, we're over oxygenating the blood, and then, or in the lungs and everything else. And then if you're doing this side, you're putting more carbon dioxide, which then sort of slows everything down. So, and then there's also some neat stuff that it does to the vagus nerve. I'm just talking at this point. So anyway, let's jump into this. So I'm gonna put some music on for you guys. I want you to sit down for a second. Again, you can do whatever you want to, but I find that people tend to say, will you just do it with me? So cool. So, we're gonna sit down for a couple minutes and we're gonna do this breathing. So just follow along with me. So I want you to just basically sit down. And then the idea is that you want to start, if you need to in the beginning, you can kind of hold your stomach. If you have trouble breathing, I'll post a video down below in the description where you can look up another breathing exercise that can help you breathe lower into your stomach if you have trouble doing that. But we want to start by lifting our stomach out, moving up into the chest, and then eventually into the throat. Pause. And when you breathe out, super slow. So let's go ahead and just kind of do this for about 2 minutes here. So I'm going to put a timer on. And I personally like to close my eyes and do it. So that's what I'm going to do. But you guys just kind of do whatever you'd like. And when you're doing it, try to focus on like the sensation of your body sitting on the ground, and focus on just the way that your body feels when the air is moving in and out, and try not to think about anything in particular. And again, this is becoming sort of a meditation type thing, but whenever your mind starts to wander, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Everybody does. Just bring it back to the sensation of your body sitting there in the breath. So let's go and get started. All right, guys, so that's been about 2 minutes. And this by no means is like some sort of expert way to do it. I'm just sharing this with you guys because, again, you guys ask questions, and really a lot of times I just share from my experience. So this has been a really helpful exercise to me over the years. When I was younger, I actually started getting into deep breathing because I was having like panic attacks and anxiety issues where I was getting nervous about everything, and it was helpful with that. And then also just, like you said, if you're trying to wind down at the end of the evening after training and things like that, this is an easy thing to do. You could do, even sometimes if it's later and I won't have a lot of time to do this at home, I'll do this when I'm driving. I'll just put some music on that I want to listen to that's kind of relaxing, and I'll do this when I'm breathing, or do this when I'm driving, and when I get home I'm just ready to pass out and relax. If not, a really good time to do this is either after training, or if you don't want to weird out your training partners, do it when you get out of the shower. Like when you get out of the shower and you're done and you're all warm and everything else, just sit down on your floor, do some breathing. And again, if you're doing this just for 2 minutes, you might notice that you feel a little bit more relaxed already. And then think about if you extended that to maybe 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes of just deep breathing and just sitting there doing nothing else. It's incredibly relaxing and just sort of just chills you out. So hopefully this is useful to any of you guys that have trouble with some anxiety sometimes, or maybe even have trouble just winding down after training. Give it a try, and if you guys have any questions or any comments about it, you can put those down below. And so hopefully this is helpful to you guys, and I'll talk to you next time.